So I got these two deadheads I found here today, and as you can see, they've been out in the sun for a while. They've got cracks in them and moss growing on them. Surprisingly, this one's not been chewed at all that I can see, but this one, it's got a little bit of chewing there and here and back here, but I'm gonna try to restore this one up here in this video, and if that goes alright, then I'll do that one next. So the first thing I'm gonna do is spray off as much of this as I can. There's some junk in here and stuff. I'll try to spray all that off, and then I'm gonna take some of this quad-aught steel wool and get it wet and just kind of scrape off any of the moss and loose chunks of antler on here, and we'll see how it looks after that. Okay, so here's how we're looking now a little bit later. After I ended up power washing all this and hitting it with a wire brush and got all the moss and all the loose stuff off it. So that's how it's looking now. And now I'm gonna take some of this 2-part fix-it sculpt stuff and mix up that and fix any of these broken tines and spots where the squirrels chewed it. So we'll do that, and then we're gonna fill all these smaller cracks in with this stuff right here. So here's how it's looking after filling in all the spots the squirrels chewed and the tines that were chewed off. I just tried to build them up the best I could. And then with that wood filler, I filled in all the little cracks, at least all the ones that I could see. So we'll let it dry for 24 hours and then we'll paint it. So I forgot to record me painting it, but before doing this, I did 2 coats on all the antlers of latex white paint, and let that dry completely before now adding some stain to it, the first layer of stain. And I ended up doing 2 full coats of stain, and I went back and did a 3rd coat just around the bases before scuffing it at the end. So here's how it looked after the first full coat of stain on the antlers. I just tried to put it on thicker near the bases and where it was all knurled up, and then just did a thinner coat out towards the ends. So here's how it's looking after the final coat of stain. I let it basically dry until it was tacky, like it was sticky but wouldn't stick to my finger when I touched it. And I did a second full coat, and then I waited another few hours and added a little bit more around the bases again. So at this point, everything's fully dried, and
the antlers have this like super glossy finish to them right now from the stain. And so what I did here is I took more of that steel wool and basically just lightly brushed over all the antlers, and then some of the spots near the bases where it would be rubbed clear white from a deer rubbing on a tree. I rubbed it a little bit harder and knocked more of the stain off, and that kind of gave it a more realistic look instead of being so high gloss. So here's how it looks all done. You might notice the skull looks more white. I ended up boiling it in some hydrogen peroxide to whiten it back up a little bit. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I think it came out looking pretty good for my first time ever doing one. So I'll probably end up doing that old 8-pointer I got next.